Now, good morning, gentlemen. We're here at Modelu. We'll be popping around and having a little look at a few of their bits and bats. But first of all, I thought we'd start with a bit of a chit chat with two faces, which I think most of you will find familiar, particularly if you come to the shows. But guys, do you want to introduce yourselves and tell us briefly what you do here, what your role is?
Yeah, no worries, Chris. I'm Alan. I'm the founder of Modelu, and I guess my main role here is just keeping the wheels on everything, working with product design and just business management, and yeah.
Excellent. And go on.
I'm Chris. I go to almost every show, so if you see us at shows, you'll probably see my mug there. General manager here, doing all sorts of different bits, answering phones, emails, getting print jobs on. Yeah.
Brilliant. Now I know you've got more members of staff, because every now and then a different face appears at a show. So I'm assuming you've got production people here and packing and all that kind of stuff. But you're still really quite, for the size of your brand and how much kind of high profile you are now, you are still really quite a small company, aren't you? I'm guessing you're happy with how that is, and that's part of what you enjoy, this little family.
Yeah, certainly, yeah. So there's myself and Chris. We've got Harrison, who's based in Exeter. He does product design. He manages our Patreon subscription. We've got Colin, who's production manager. So he manages all the in-house resin printing and post-processing. Then we've got Coretta, Chris's wife, who does order packing and order management. Sophie, who does fulfillment, so all shipping. They both can take orders over the phone as well and deal with emails. And then we've got Julie, who does work on brand for us, so that's where the sort of new Modelu logos come from, and a lot of work on the new Modelu website and Modelu Studio. And
there's been some really cool stuff happening on that front, hasn't there? I've noticed that when I look at your wall over there in the back, you've got the various brands on them as well, like Hornby, and you managed to get Bachmann.
Yeah.
How did you get the permission from them?
That was quite a day. That was. We're looking for ways to make, because the product range is growing sort of exponentially, especially the bespoke crews that are designed for other manufacturers' logos. And we could see at shows it was becoming a challenge really for customers to sort of scan the text really on all the products there. So it started out really from I'm trying to think which manufacturer it was. I guess it was Rapido initially, wasn't it? Because probably out of all the manufacturers, Rapido and Akira Scale are the ones we work with the closest of the big ones, and Helgen and God, I'll start annoying people now. Oh, and so. But it was getting approval to use their logos initially, and the product image, which we're like, well, that's great for those brands, but we need kind of everyone really. So we just had a couple of days where we just emailed all our contacts at all the manufacturers, and within 48 hours, pretty much everyone had said yes, and here's the logo.
Wow.
Which was quite an emotional point actually, because that was to receive such endorsement really.
As a gold sticker chart goes, that's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a pretty incredible, and it makes the packaging just looks fantastic now. Yeah. So it's there with the company's logo on, their image of their product, and then the figures as a complimentary kind of finishing touch.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, I've got a few questions about manufacturing, so I might point these towards Chris. So, actually, no, hang on, hold on. We've got ahead of myself. Let's have a very quick roundup of where Modelu came from, and a little bit of that story, just for the new people who have obviously seen your brand, but don't really know about you guys.
So it's quite a journey, to be honest. It was started out. Well, my journey really started out in 2013, I think, where I just got back into warrior modelling after a very long break, and hadn't really got any space to do anything. So I was kind of zeroed in on the idea of either like a shed scene or something like that, where you could have a lot of detail and a lot of locos, because I'd gone absolutely crazy on eBay and bought about 40 locos and checkbook modelling at its best. And then after, I've always been interested in the Cambrian, because I used to live in mid Wales and very, very close to the Cambrian line. So I settled on Oswestry works as a subject. Because in the 50s and 60s it wasn't just sort of Cambrian based locos there, you'd see all sorts of stuff from all over the different regions, and that was my like kind of subject matter. And the more I got into it, the more I realised that my like actual modelling skills were appalling. So but I'd worked in IT for 25 years or so, and I'd worked in CAD originally. So I just started to sort of draw stuff in CAD and start discovering laser cutters, and signed up on RM Web, and there was a couple of models on RM Web that were 3D printing back then. One was a chap whose name escapes me, but he was making a 2mm fine scale model of Bath, Great Western Bath, not Bath Green Park.
Right.
And he'd bought this jewellery printer, a B9 Creator. And I thought, well, I'll try that, give that a go. I'd been using like a makerspace in Brighton where I used to live. They'd got a couple of FDM printers, and I've been sort of trying stuff out with that. To cut a long story short, I left Brighton, I moved home with my mum at age 40 with a printer, converted the garage into a workshop, started Modelu, so this would be end of 2014.
Right.
Resigned from my job and had a go basically at starting the business. Yeah.
Excellent.
I was just very fortunate that where my mum lived in Wales, literally a 5-minute walk away was a chap called Tony Geary, who's a professional model maker, loco builder in O-gauge predominantly. Another 4 miles down the road was Jeff Taylor, who was another professional model maker, and it was through meeting those two chaps that they sort of elevated me right up to meet all the modelers, really, all the kind of top P4 modelers and EM modelers and scale 7 modelers. And so straight away I had a kind of like closed audience who were like, oh, can you make point wedding, or can you make loco lamps, or can you make,
right,
you know,
so you started off with the detailing,
yes,
as opposed to the figures, so that okay.
So the figures didn't come actually, and I think the first figures in the range came out in like September 2015, and that was through meeting people at the Severn Valley who were in some of these modelling groups. So they sort of invited me up to the Severn Valley or to Llangollen, so a couple of the crews there in Llangollen, because I'd been visiting all the local railways, sort of taking photos and getting reference images, and after a while they sort of asked me like, what are you doing here? You see you here all the time. And I sort of said like what I was up to, and they were like, oh great, we'll come next week and we'll get you in the loco shed and you can scan it in our kit. And
fantastic. Yeah.
So yeah, that was September. So the first show actually trading was Gildex in 2015.
And I presume, is this you on your own? This is
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was also with a scanner as well, the handheld scanner. So I actually sold out of everything by 11:30 on the Saturday.
Wow.
So ran out of flyers by about midday. Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Crazy. Yeah.
So next steps then, where did you take it from to the point where, I don't know, where you met Chris, or decided you wanted to actually really push forward and expand this? Was this just before COVID? Obviously I presume COVID helped, because it helped a lot of people selling stuff.
So there's a few sort of catalyst points really. I always envisaged it becoming this, and I always envisaged having one of these as well.
Yeah.
So I definitely had like that, because I just knew that no one else was doing it. It was such a huge gap in the detail side, like in terms of quality. So I kind of always knew it would get to where we are now. But what was holding me back really was the price and availability of the printers.
Yeah.
So when I first started, these jewellery printers were about £5,000 each. They were kit built ones.
Wow.
The build volume was about this big, so like a sort of credit card size. The resin was £200 a bottle.
That's bonkers, isn't it? Consider what you can get off the shelf now.
Yeah, and print time was probably 20 times slower than what it is at the moment. So I was continually hitting production buffers, essentially. So but you know, I just couldn't produce things fast enough. Whether it was me on my own or if we had a team of 10, you know, we'd be hitting this sort of like production.
Sure.
That got a little bit better when the company released a new printer, but they were like £12,000. I had 2 of those in the early days, so all my profits were just going completely straight back in onto hardware. When one of those failed, my only option from the company was to buy a refurbished one for like another 10 grand or something. It was just, this was in COVID times.
Right.
So COVID blew everything up to pieces. Like, I think I shut the workshop down, went home with my laptop, and then 2 days later went back and fetched everything and set up a printing room in the downstairs toilet and in the shower cubicle. And just, I think sales went up like 200% or something like that.
Wow, I bet you were putting some serious hours in.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So there was no hobby being done.
No, not at all.
You weren't doing any model making.
And then, so post-COVID, so these machines were running fast, but it's still limited by a very small build volume. So I think, I'm not sure if it's kind of snobbiness or something, but because I'd invested so much money in these printers, when things like Elegoo and Anycubic came along, I was just like, well, they can't be as good. Surely can't be. They're like £300 for a printer. But took a punt and bought a Saturn, an Elegoo Saturn, which was about 400 quid or something, because I was continually getting blocked by printing big scale figures. So if someone ordered a 16mm figure or a 1/12, God forbid, I'd always cringe if someone would say, could I order a figure in 1/12? I'd be like, oh God, yes, but that means I can't print anything for like 2 days.
Right.
So I bought a Saturn on a punt, and then never looked back after that. Yeah.
Is that what you've got stacked up?
We've got like the 4th generation of them now. Yeah, we've got Saturn 4 Ultra 16Ks.
Yeah, the 16K is just, it's bonkers, isn't it?
It is. Whether you'd actually notice the difference between 12K and 16K, I think you'd be pretty hard pushed to notice the difference. But
I don't know if there's really any need for any more than that.
No, I don't think there is. No.
But then we keep saying that, but then I suppose it all depends on how people are viewing this detail as well. Because if they're viewing, it's like I was saying to Chris earlier about the T scale. Tom from Bungles Kelly Station produced for his Pico 200 challenge. Now that is a tiny little thing on the tip of his thumb that you just don't want to sneeze when it's there. But of course, you look at that picture, and you look at that picture on a big HD screen, where a lot of people are watching YouTube and watching the content via big TV screens now. They're not looking at on their old PC anymore.
Or on their phone or whatever.
Then suddenly all this stuff pops, and even though that was, I don't know how many millimeters high that was, but you can tell it's Tom. I am familiar with the model because I've got him in 120, but you can spot it's Tom. So go on. So then how did you meet this retrobreak then?
So so I think trying to think where I was with staffing. So I'd always had like sort of friends helping out with packing and stuff like that, but then I learnt about there's an internship program with UE. So Harrison joined about a year before.
Yeah, a year before I joined. Yeah.
And I think one of my friends, Nicola, was working with us, packing and doing post, and then she basically went back. She was on a sort of career break, so she went back to her career, and then I think did I just advertise it in
Modelu Modelers?
In Modelu Modelers, yeah.
So we've got our own Facebook group for a bit of a community, Modelu Modelers, and it's quite a nice little group.
Yeah. So just put the ad in there, and Chris applied, and after a little while, he joined.
I had quite a it was a bit of a slow start where I had a long notice period at my other job. I was only working like 1 day a week as well for like the first 2 months.
Right. So that got you up to speed on. But in terms of like a success story, I mean, Chris was employed to do the post, basically, and 3 years later he's general manager. Well, 2 years later he's general manager. I mean, that's when you got so
yeah, it's one of those that the responsibilities slowly changed from, I guess, took up the like social pages and then
and just thanks to your like passion and capabilities and stuff, like it was straight away see his potential beyond just things.
This is to make things work in this industry. It does actually take a lot of effort. You guys might look like swans swanning around at a show, but there's a hell of a lot of stuff going on in the background and underneath, isn't it, paddling away. Having looked behind the curtain myself now and realised actually how much effort goes on behind. I'm not so sure the punters really realise that. They just see you guys being charming and smiling and look at our pretty light show and
obviously this weekend we had Rapido Rarex. So where it's a Friday, Saturday show, it's nice that we actually keep a day of our weekend spare for this one. But I don't think they realise like the journey back. I didn't lock the office doors till 10 o'clock Saturday night.
Yeah.
So when they've gone home, they've enjoyed the show. It was a lovely show. I don't think they always realise the efforts different traders make to get to a show.
Yeah.
This is something I realised when I first started Modelu, was I was quite aware really of going to exhibitions with this shiny new product, and especially there's a lot of traders that have been going to shows for like decades with white metal figures and stuff like that, and I was very, and also because it's because I've been going to shows prior to starting Modelu anyway, just to sort of see what's around, and because I was working in IT all over the country, I could set my schedule. So there's a show in Wakefield, I'll work in Leeds that week, or whatever. So I got to see a lot of exhibitions and realised like how close knit the community is, and it's like a sort of big family. The smaller shows in particular.
It's just like a family, because I didn't realise how many of them actually fought.
Yes, yeah.
But no one really hates each other.
No, yeah. But it's just so like everyone knows each other, and I was sort of conscious of that coming in as a new sort of startup to be, sort of what's the word? Sort of aware of that and respectful of that, basically.
Now it's almost like people couldn't imagine a show without seeing this, TARDIS thing standing there and shining out. I presume you do feel kind of accepted now by the show community.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, like we could probably do a show every weekend. We regularly get emailed from shows all over the country saying, because it's unique. It still is unique, thankfully.
It's quite a nice attractor.
After 10 years, it's quite mad that we're still the only people. Well, there is another chap doing it, I think, in Huddersfield at larger scale shows.
Yeah.
But what I have learned in the early years is I think I did something like 30 shows in 2015 or 2016, and about 25 in 2017, and then maybe 20 in 2018. And honestly, a benefit of COVID was it kind of, I was just doing way too many, but didn't know how to say no either, because it is such a unique thing that you bring into like a smaller show.
Yeah.
And knowing just the people, and it got very hard to say no, but it was definitely affecting my health, and it was affecting the business. I was constantly on the road, so there's never any time to replenish stock or deal with customer emails or do product development, and COVID stopped all of that.
I know it's like when a customer sends an email, they kind of expect, well, they do generally expect a response, and
which is
fine.
That's completely understandable.
But then they haven't heard from you, they get quite angry. Think, why am I being ignored?
Yeah.
When actually you might not open that laptop again for 4 days because you just had this exhausting weekend. But you've got to try and keep on top of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
We still find that a challenge now, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's 7 of us.
Yeah.
So,
I think so. Everyone listening out here, guys, just a bit of patience. Remember, we're all human beings. we've all got other lives and commitments, and which everyone's trying to do their best, aren't they?
Yeah, I do think there's times where some people think we're huge.
Yeah.
And forget we're a team of 7.
Yeah.
There's
not all full time either. I think it's Amir is a full time 4.
Yeah, 4 of us.
4 of us are full time. Yeah.
So when you figure out how many hours that actually are in a week.
Yeah.
You can't be everywhere doing everything all the time. Yeah. You just do the best you can. Right. What I want to talk to you about next then is we were chatting earlier when we were in your little printing room, which is very impressive, but I'm not showing that because I think there's some nice stuff in there about how you're doing your product and how you're moving forward with your product. And we did kind of touch on, obviously, and you also, Alan, touched on the fact that there are kind of natural blockages to how you're producing stuff because you're using a system that I would argue, people could argue, was originally designed as a prototyping system or a development system, but you're actually using it for manufacture. You're actually manufacturing your product using it. And there's not many people doing that. I know there's obviously like Western Wagon Works and there are one-man band guys, but I'm not trying to say that in a derogatory term, but there are people on eBay and whatever doing little startups. So, can you just quickly talk us through why you don't go down the route of then using them as a pattern to make like injection molded versions of these things or
yeah. So all of our figures, we've effectively copied reference images and then scanned people in certain poses that are really natural. Any issue with injection molding would then restrict what sort of poses we can do due to undercuts, etc. You wouldn't be able to have a figure holding something so well as what we have, etc.
There's multi-part arms and things like that.
Yeah, so this way means when the figure arrives, you can just take the supports off, paint it up, and it's ready to go. No need of the clean up for injection molded bits as well. We've refined our supporting system for the figures to be as fine as possible, so they don't need filing down, etc. when they arrive.
Yeah.
So
definitely, I think definitely that kind of just being able to go over there with a scalpel and just flick those little nibs that might be left behind. It's a process of seconds, isn't it, for the modeler?
Yeah.
From a financial perspective as well, we're not having to pay tooling costs. You know, so if you I think for figures in particular. So something that I saw, which was really interesting to see when I was at Dapple, had an open day where we had the scanner. So when I used to be based in Shrewsbury, they were just 40 minutes up the road in Chirk, and they have the tooling for a lot of the original Airfix products, including the figure sets.
Wow.
So where I was there with the scanner, on the shelf next to me was huge steel tooling for the classic Airfix figure set.
Sort of rifleman doing that.
No,
machine gun
railway figures.
Oh right, sorry, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. So
I went straight to military modelling there. Gun team. Yeah.
So he's like a sort of foreman with a bowler hat, stood with his arms like this. And I was just looking at this tooling, thinking like, wow. Think of how many figures has come out of that. Like that's probably hundreds of thousands or something like that.
Yeah.
But for us to do something like that, you may be looking at 10 to 20 grand for the tooling up front. And then you're committed to those figures for 20,000 runs, say.
Yep.
So you want to be pretty certain that they're going to sell. So the beauty of 3D printing is it gives us the creative power really to sort of experiment. Some figures we generate really they have more of a marketing reach than they do a financial one, like a direct sale one. Like so they'll get lots of interactions because it's a really interesting figure pose, but we might not sell many.
Yeah, we'll sell 2,000 of them.
But the actual upfront cost of scanning them and printing a couple is so negligible that it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So with that we can increase the breadth of the range without sitting on, thousands of pounds worth of unsold stock.
You're just sitting on a little file.
Yeah, basically,
And if someone does want to pick it up,
we don't print it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let alone the space for all these toolings.
Yeah,
we've got over
even. Yeah, like if you so that we've obviously got this stock behind us, but that's for an exhibition. So everything else we do is print to order. So thankfully customers are prepared to wait a short time get their order.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that's maybe a positive. I don't know if it's a positive or not. Amongst the railway model, we're so used to waiting 18 months for something we've been told we're going to get, that if you guys say, oh, it's a week, oh, fine, no problem.
Yeah, yeah.
The loco I want it for isn't going to arrive.
Yeah, you and out yet. Yes, yeah.
Colour. Now, Chris knows I'm a real convert to what you've done for the TT120 colour figures, and they've been an absolute boon for where I work, that we can just take it out of the packet and super glue it in place, and that's it, done. Now, and you showed me the larger stuff, and you showed me the detail it does. How are you thinking of developing that? Is that something? Do you ever envisage that actually replacing a lot of your unpainted stuff, or do you think there's obviously in the larger scales there are people who actually enjoy painting these things, but in the smaller scales, do you think that's something you might consider pushing on with, or is it not practical at the moment because of? Or are you grinning because you're not going to tell us what your future plans are?
No, happy you can.
So we are looking to have our own printer in-house. I think the colour range really goes well alongside the grey figures, just because if people want certain colours, they're wanting
variation,
they want this man to have a blue jacket. We're not going to completely change the file. We're not going to be able to do that for the one-off request. For off-the-shelf figures, they will be what they are.
They are.
So we'll continue with the grey, but we're hopeful of being able to have more off-the-shelf figures printed in colour when we've got our own in-house solution.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you can paint them as well, because I've mixed and matched some of mine. So I've put lighter bluer jackets on some of the drivers.
Yeah,
or a wash on them or something like that.
And so, but I think that particularly in that small scale stuff, I think there's. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you come forward in the future. I mean, you can't do it all, and you can't do it all tomorrow. But I still think there's exciting stuff going to come from you guys.
Yeah, I mean, the colour will definitely be the next big change really for us. So we've been outsourcing a lot of it. So we've obviously been printing colour figures for a Cura scale for like 3 years now, I think. Which was a amazing opportunity really. It all came about because they developed the manner, and I think at the time we'd just done the figures for Rapido for the Titfield set. I can't remember which came first, or the Titfield set or the
Cura scale came first because of the Delta.
Yeah. So we've kind of understood more and more about the technology, and it has changed. It's pretty much light and day now. If you look at the first Deltic figures that we produced for a Cura scale and look at what's happening now, it's completely different. The quality is like infinitely better.
I think Chris showed me something, it might have been about a year ago, but it was like super shiny.
Yeah.
And now there seems to have that you've got that finish. It seems a lot more ready to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So there's another manufacturer in that space now, and there isn't many, to be honest. There's probably only about 3 companies, I think, and generally those printers are on an industrial grade, so they're sort of 6-figure cost to them. But there's a company that develops like a smaller form factor one, which we're looking to get.
Cool.
But again, so that then will give us the flexibility to print small runs and wide range. So ultimately, with the scanner's been capturing in full colour since we bought it. So everything we've scanned since 2017 or no, when was it?
2023, November 23.
Everything since then, we have the master file in colour. So potentially anything we've released in the last 3 years can be in colour.
Wow, and actually they can order that now, can't they? That is available to order now, isn't it? You're looking at me like rabbit headlights.
It'll be something that we'll add on our. We've got a new website coming next month, and then I'm sort of building in a bit of future proofing to have a colour selector.
Right.
So you can choose either in resin or in colour.
Yeah.
All the scans we've done previous to that are in colour as well, but the big difference is that they weren't done with uniform lighting like this.
Right.
So if you're in a lot of exhibitions have got sort of, the lighting isn't great, So the colour textures on some of the older scans are very dark, or there'll be like quite strong shadows on them where there's some natural light coming in.
Right. Yeah.
So it wouldn't be impossible to convert them to colour now.
You'd almost have to look at it as a case by case, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
See how it worked out.
Yeah.
So obviously we know it's not all about railways here, even though obviously most people watching this little video, that's what I'm mainly into. I do like your RAF stuff, and your military stuff's been going down very well. People do, I think, the first time I saw you bring uniforms and stuff along was probably Key Model World.
Yeah.
The first time
Yeah,
was it Key or was it Getz?
Key Model World, yeah.
And yeah, I can see you have a little rack of uniforms over there in the background, and that was really cool seeing people putting an RAF kit on or some sort of military stuff to sit in their tank and all that kind of stuff. But you've also diversified as well into doing things like you've done cake toppers.
Yeah.
And didn't you? And you did.
Pets and...
What was the band that was down at Margate?
So we scanned the Libertines.
How did you get Libertines there?
One of the people that work at Margate Station is good friends with one of the group from the Libertines.
Yeah.
And so he thought the scanner was absolutely fantastic, passed on to them what we do. They all absolutely loved the idea. And then we scanned them in Bath.
Yeah, at the Forum. They were playing at the Forum.
And trying to get them to stop playing their instruments was hard work.
Yeah.
To stand still.
Because they're just noodling all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And if one started, it would set another one off. It was absolutely mad, but absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Seeing those guys.
Awesome.
So yeah, then we managed to get back down to Margate this year when they were performing, and so they came. We gave them a big figure of themselves, which they all absolutely loved their figures.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So hang on, let's just rewind. Did you guys got them down to Margate then for the?
No, they were. It was the end of their record tour, so they're from Margate.
Right. Okay. Oh, of course. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So they were performing.
So that's why Hornby tied, sort of jumped on the back of that and tied them into what they were doing.
Hornby's 70th anniversary layout, which is in Margate Station, that was unveiled last July when they had us down with the scanner, and then the layout is basically has
Dreamland.
The Dreamland stage in the layout. So it's got sort of various sites of Margate in the scene, including the Hornby offices and factory, and so we're like, oh, you need a band on that stage, and then it kind of came from there basically. So the Libertines now are on the stage in the model.
Fantastic. Yeah. I bet they love it, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you loved it too. Yeah.
It's good fun.
Fantastic. All right, so apart from the fact that you are going to be getting your own colour printers, you're doing the colour printing in house, and I know you're doing more detailed stuff, and I think you're quite expanding into the Great Western stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got. I think we're doing a bit of gap filling, really. I guess in the range, like there'll be a lot of things, popular products that have been out for a long time. So we don't want to get too fixated on everything that's coming out new. It's like, we haven't got a crew for I don't know, like an 8F or something like that. So just sort of filling the gaps. Now we've got kind of like development capacity and printing capacity, so we can sort of look back and go, right, what's the most popular sort of LMER locos or Great Western ones? So
that sounds like a nice place to be, that you can stop, breathe, relax, and go, right, okay, let's just take take stock of what we're at and what we're doing, rather than always constantly trying to be the next sort of spear point of what's the next exciting thing, which is always good, makes good content.
I think knowing that we've got colour coming, like that ticks that box.
Yeah.
Like, because that will be kind of feel like that will be quite game changing, because there's not been a lot of innovation on that front, not to the sort of scale that we're kind of planning anyway. So yeah, it's just making sure that we're covering the basics really, like, do we sell luggage? No. So we probably should have been for like years.
Yeah.
So just sort of things like that. So just
well,
nice.
there is there's just so much stuff, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's making people more aware as well that we're more than just figures.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
that's a
had,
good point, yeah.
at Repeater Rarelex, I set up one of our display stands and didn't put a single person on it, just put like our parts bins, our fitters cupboard, and things like that on it. And the amount of attention that one stand got, like, you do stuff like that. It's like, it's been there for so long, but it kind of gets missed to where people just think of us as figures, but there's a lot more to our range.
Because sometimes you walk past your, however attractive your stand can be and is, 10 blokes' backs lined up in front of the rack of those things, hunting for figures, means you walk past sometimes because you think, they're just too busy. I'll come back later. But yeah. So your stand has been quite. There's a few people now. I'm not going to go through the names, but you can go into a show now and you can almost see from the glow. Right, there's so and so's over there, so and so's over there, so and so's there, and there's Modelu over there, because you've developed something that's really quite attractive and quite distinct. Have you got any more plans for what you're doing? That you got any ideas that are up your sleeves, Chris? You're going to share with us, or are you going to stick with? I mean, we know that how attractive these packages are now becoming in almost each stage you've gone through. Are you thinking of any other things you might do when it comes to point of sale to make that a different experience rather than, or do you just accept the fact that some days, Saturday mornings at a show, you're going to be rammed full of people hunting for figures?
So it's one of those, there's little bits that sometimes get missed. So I always, under the till, have a box of random figures in O, N and double O. So anyone who's never used our figures before, I give them a quick de-spruing demonstration and things like that. So just we're aware that sometimes that might be the thing that puts people off.
Yeah.
But there's no hard sell that I've shown you this, you've got to buy a figure.
Might not have handled a 3D figure before or seen what the detail looks like. It's quite hard to sort of see it in the packet with all the sprues all over everything.
Sure.
Yeah, so it gives them that chance to then just hold the figure and see what it is that we do.
And that bit's really important, the fact that you're actually physically talking to them, because so much retail now is online. That actually going to a show and actually being them to realise there's a couple of human beings here, and you can actually have a conversation.
Yeah, it's really important to meet people at shows, meet customers at shows, whether it's new ones or existing ones that we kind of got to know, or we sort of recognise them on the phone, or see their order come in, going, it's going to Vito or whatever,
Annoying YouTubers.
Yeah.
That Chris has ordered again. What's he getting this time?
Which Chris? Not this Chris. Okay. How do we? I don't want to wrap this up because it's always nice to chat to you guys, but you have got a business to run. I've got a 6-hour drive home. Any other business?
So a couple of things that I'm kind of, I don't know. It's been a tricky one, this has, but our Patreon is going pretty well, and this is where it was quite a big decision to knowingly give away IP to people that are prepared to pay for it. So I feel like
how does that work? Talk to us about that.
So you pay. There's two different tiers. So you either pay something like £7 and you get five figures every month to download and print on your own printer.
Right.
And that's either in what we've called Steam era, so basically anything pre-70s, modern era, 70s onwards. And that can be railway figures, general public, or details and accessories. And that's going pretty well. We knowingly went into it knowing that there would be a risk of potential abuse of files, like appearing on eBay or whatever. And that was a sort of calculated risk that we took to do that sort of thing. So we're at a point now where we could potentially increase that, because every month we get asked, as you can imagine, if we've got like 150 subscribers or something.
Yeah.
That's a lot of different modelling habits, and not every month, not everybody is because of the price point, they're content to have things some months which they're not particularly interested in, knowing that the month after that and the one after that is interesting. But I'm kind of pondering sort of turning that upside down a little bit and offering more choice each month, but you only access one of them or something like that. Then the files go into our catalogue and they can be purchased at a discount or something like that. So that's something I've got kind of on the drawing board at the moment. So like we might have a North American tier or an RAF military tier or something like that.
That sounds cool. Have you felt the need to actually police any of that? Have you had any occasions where you think people have been a bit...
Yeah, we've had a couple. Some knowingly, some not knowingly, like they just maybe haven't read the sort of small print on commercial use.
Yeah.
Another thing actually is commercial licenses, because we got often asked about people selling the files, and that is another kind of, you know, understanding the impact of that, which I think would be relatively low. But again, it's a bit of an unknown. So I see plenty of people doing it. I mean, in fact, the vast majority of people on Patreon making figures don't sell them themselves as well. They literally just do the CAD, and then other people sell them, like have a commercial license and sell them. So it's an interesting area, as more and more people get their own printers at home.
Yeah, their own 8K AnyCube. That's, you know, the
couple £100.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think the way we would differentiate ourselves going forward would be in colour, because I think colour for, I don't know how much longer, but that will still be is a little bit like when I first started, when printers were, you know, a lot of money. They weren't a kind of hobbyist thing. They were a kind of industrial.
I was surprised Chris showed me, and I'll put up on the screen here a little picture I took of the fact that it's not what I imagined, the thing that arrives, the fact that it's not a immaculate thing that you just click off some sprue and away you go. But here it is in its kind of embryonic stage, embedded in some sort of wax.
Yeah.
Whoa, this is weird, like alien birth.
Yeah, which just dissolves in water.
But it's another thing that you've got to do. It's another physical process. So all of these things aren't quite as simple as you pressing the button.
Yeah.
There's hardly anything you produce. It's just about pressing a button. There is a whole load of stages of actual labour when it comes to whether it's actually keeping your machines clean, whether it's printing the stuff, and dealing with cleaning the stuff and fixing it, and then processing. There's a number of steps of processing those when it comes to actually then packing them. Obviously, you do your own packing department, then you do your own post, and then people turn around and say, "Why is that? Why does that cost me £3?" You know, it's It's like, well, okay, well you add it all up.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that this morning, actually, on the way to work, about our pricing, and you know, we haven't got the Lamborghinis out in the drive out there, you know, and yeah, there are a lot of steps, and you know, we've got we've got a big team, and hopefully that they're paid well, and they've all got pensions and all the rest of it, and so that's not cheap.
Yeah, that's something else. Having once upon a time had my own business, there is an element that when people look at business owners like yourself, who think, oh, he's just obviously creaming all the money off of it, and he's making money out of us, and it should be cheaper. I can get so and so for £1.50. Why is he ripping us all off? But they never think about the fact, because they've never experienced the fact that you go home with a feeling of responsibility for these people's wages and livelihoods, and the food they put on their own families' tables and the roofs they put over their heads. And I know there are bad businessmen out there, but I think most small businesses have that feeling of a responsibility. And the Joe public who whines about how much something might cost, I don't think they ever consider that, unless they've had some kind of experience of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe they shouldn't need to.
Yeah.
But it's certainly.
I think it's more acute when knowing how cheap a printer is and knowing how cheap resin is. You know that we should be selling everything for like half of what we are doing, which I did used to do. but obviously, you know, all the costs are going up everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose to a certain extent, without you guys keeping on the ball and keeping it up to date and carrying on having a good reputation with your customer service and a good reputation for, you know, with the, obviously you have now with the manufacturers that let you put the logos all over everything. You've got a nice slap on the back for that. But without doing all that, keeping on top of all of that, you've always got the fact that the home builder is going to start. There's a potential for the home builders to start chipping away at this business model. Yeah. Which.
Yeah, it's thing I'm sort of constantly aware of, knowing that that's how I started, and you know, and to other businesses that were in the figure market in particular. When I started, the white metal ones, and people, you know, had figures that were tooled, you know, they'd be looking at going like, what is going on over there?
Yeah.
In fact, I did have figure manufacturers come over and look at the stand and go, oh, right, okay. So a big area for that I see now is AI and producing figures from photos, which is a fantastic technology and definitely works, depending on how bothered you are about accuracy. But then that will come in time.
3 fingers or 7 fingers.
Yeah, but that will definitely come in. AI is advancing things exponentially at the moment, and that probably within 12 months, those kind of things will be long gone. So, yeah, it's about keeping relevant and keeping, you know, a sort of ahead of the curve. But I feel something that I've begun to sort of accept as we've grown is that a brand name does take you a long way, basically. And I think colour will be the next thing for us. After that, when colour printers become £300 and everyone can print them at home, who knows? I have no idea. But,
but I think I don't think you need to panic yet, because there is the one thing that runs through the core of all of this is the fact that human beings still like to talk to human beings. Whether that's via social media or whether it's actually at shows. And that kind of connection is still, I think, vital to so many things that we do.
I think also you see this with a lot of the manufacturers that collaborate with each other as well, like the goodness that comes from companies that even in some cases are competitors on some levels, because you know you've got such a big product catalogue, you're going to have some overlap somewhere. But what that gives us, having those conversations like with TMC or with Hornby or with Bachmann or whoever, that brings something that's invaluable in the product development that you just can't replicate. You can't get an AI to replicate that. That's from years of business development and chatting at shows and all the rest of it.
Trust,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Cool. Right, Chris, do you have anything to say goodbye to, or you're happy here?
I think all good. I don't think I've got anything else to add. Yeah, it's one of those, like, some of our relationships with some of these businesses is hours upon hours of communication.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And trust is a really good word for it, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And it being mutually beneficial as well.
That's it. I mean, there is, and I would, we're not charities, but we all, I think most people involved, whether that's a manufacturer, a retailer, whoever, and the social media side of things as well. The call that runs through it, so everyone's really still quite keen for this hobby to survive and to grow,
to do well and see others do well.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no.
I mean, I might be a little bit naive in my thinking about that. I don't know how the manufacturers sort of feel about each other when they're both putting out exactly the same logo or something like that. They may not be.
I get the kind of feeling after now speaking to a number of people that amongst the people that are almost at the tall face of it, it's the whole that most of them are modelers, or they've come from modelling, and that whole part of it is really important to them. The bigger the manufacturers are, the more likelihood there's going to be someone behind it with money who probably doesn't care.
Yeah.
And that's but that's a separate thing. That doesn't mean their views are representative of that person you see at a show. But the person at the show is the one who takes the flak for doing something wrong, or the wrong number of rivets, or whatever it is, or wrong style of buffer for that period, because the tooling's been compromised to cover enough versions of something, because it costs £500 million to tool the bloody thing.
Yeah.
You know, and there's only 10 people on social media have actually asked for one. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I've been asking for it for 10 years. Yeah, you and Dave have been asking for it. But yeah, all right, to wrap things up a little bit, because we've gabbled on for nearly an hour. You guys have been wonderful, as I fully expected you to be. It's always an absolute pleasure to come down to this part of the country, and I'm looking forward to seeing you both at shows. And I'm going to be at Getz. I'm going to be at the National Festival at the end of the year at the NEC. Are you guys at both of those?
We're not at Getz. We'll be at IPMS for the first time in 7 or 8 years.
Right.
So that will be with the scanner and Jed.
IPMS. Do you want to tell the guys what IPMS is?
Telford, that is. So
yeah, that's the one we went to last year, right? Yeah, the International Plastic Model Kit Show. Yeah.
So yeah, it's the biggest one in the UK. I think it's probably one of the bigger ones in Europe as well. So it's like a pretty much a.
They won't know what's hit them when this spaceship turns up. I think it's going to be really good for
Whether people will get scanned remains to be seen, really. But it's certainly there to show this is how we make our figures. Yeah. Ultimately, and we'll have Jed with his. He'll have like a Jaguar kit and.
Are you going to have? Didn't you get some guys? Yeah, he's the
reenactment chaps. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So
get some armored fighting vehicle kit in there, because
like
tank commanders jackets and helmets and all that, definitely, because they're
mad for it. Modelers, yeah.
But the thing that sold the most for us when we went there of your products was the pilots.
Cool. Yeah,
and particularly in the smaller scale stuff, the kits just seem to be appearing without a model in them anymore.
Yeah.
So the 172nd and the 148s were, they just flew off the shelves. Right, guys. Again, thank you so much. And I can never really work out how to wrap these things up again, because in my head I've got loads of bibble that I want to talk about. But I think we'll just say thank you very much and cheers.
Thanks for coming to see us.
Cheers, dude.
And that's all there is to tell. I'll be on my way now, sir. I've got urgent business in the south. I have to meet a man at Marlborough Junction.